In this video, I'll be showing you how to generate your OpenAI API keys. These API keys, you can use it in your product, also in your project. When you're setting up n8n, when you're building an agent, or in your configurational code that involves communicating or using OpenAI model, you can use these keys. To generate your API keys, you can click on your API keys here, and then you see all the keys here. As you can see, it says no API keys found. Try adjusting your search or filter. That's if you have an API key. Here, we would like to generate our API key. Once you click on that, you specify the name of the API key, which here it says optional. In our case, we're going to say let's assume you're working on a project. Let's call the project clad project. Then you can specify your project. Here is default. You can also determine the permission of your API keys if you want it to be restricted, or if you want only read-only access. In this case, we're going to be giving it all permission. However, also before you create your API key, I would like to explain that you can also set up a service account for these API keys. Now, in terms of a service account, the new service account is to be added to your project, and an API key will be created for it. So now let's go back to click on create. Now you've safely created your API key. Now be careful with your API key, and always remember to save your API key in a safe place, and you won't be able to view it again. So remember to copy your API keys, save it in your personal space or in your secured location. You have to make sure you keep it secured, as anyone with API key can make requests on your behalf. If you lose it, you would need to generate a new one. There is no way for you to retrieve these API keys, so always remember to save it in somewhere secure. Now, this is going to be what you're going to see: the name of the API key you just generated, the status, the tracking ID, the secret key, when it was created, last use, created by, as you can see, Tito. The permission here is all. Now, there are two buttons on the right hand side. You can edit it, or you can also delete. Now let's click on the edit. Here, permission change may take a few minutes. That is if you want to change the permission. Here, you can also decide to give this API key read-only access only. If I click on save, as you can see here, it says that the permission is what? Read-only. Here. Now, that is how you generate your API key. Now, if you like to check your API key usage, let's assume you generated your API keys and you want to check the usage. To check the usage, you can click on API key usage. Once you click on that, you see this popped up UI, and then here you can see your total spend for your API key, and you can see also the June spend, and you can also see your organization name and the total key. Now, API capabilities, you can also see it here. You can see your spend categories here. Now here you can see there is no data for the API key. Click on this again, you can see this. Now your web searches from the API key, the file it was searched, response and chat completion, the images, the moderation, embeddings, audio transcript, audio speeches. You can basically see all these sessions, and also API capabilities. You can see everything there. The spend categories, you'll be able to see that. The services and the API keys, you can see all those information here. Now, what is interesting also is you can also filter it by group by line item, also by project. Now, on the right hand side, if you click on the manage the tier, it will bring you to your limit, where you can actually see your limit. You can check your usage tier, the free tier, tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At state of this recording, these are the current tier that OpenAI supports. You can also check your rate limit as well. Here, as you can see, for GPT 5.5, 206, 04, 23, this is the token limit, and this is also the request and other limit, and these are the part queue limit. Also for the image, you can also see your request and other limit. If you click on view more, you can also see other models as well. Now, this is interesting because this will allow you to plan better, to know which model you need to use when you are setting up your project, and then also the model you'll be giving the agent that you're going to be building. Now, This model have different use case, and then you can also plan and prepare yourself ahead once you start seeing the token and also the request and the limit are associated with each OpenAI model. Now, as you can see, also the models can also grouped. For example, GPT-4o, you can see this is the total token limit, and for GPT-4o mini, this is the token limit. And then also you can also see other token limit associated with different OpenAI models. Now, these models and also this limit information allow you to plan and then use your token effectively. For example, if you would like to use a text embedding model, you will most likely want to use this model. Or if you want to use something similar, you can also see, for example, this text embedding ADA 002. You can see the token limit for it. Also, you can also compare this GPT real time versus GPT real time translate. You can also check the token limit as well for them. Now, in terms of the images and also the video, as you can see, Sora 2 have 100,000 limit, and then also Sora 2 Pro, they have similar as well. Now let's hide this model. Now you can also upgrade, and you can specify the amount you would like to add. You will click on continue. Before you continue, you need to select your payment method if you have one. If you don't have any payment method, you can click on continue, and it's going to give you a UI that should be asking for your information for that. Now let me refresh. Because there's no token limit, this is what you're going to see. I mean, because there is no payment associated with it, that's what you're going to see. Now, back to the usage of your token. Another interesting thing you can also do is here, you can also contact sales if you would like to upgrade to a higher tier. And if you also want to have more understanding about rate limit, you can visit the rate limit guide. This will give you more context and more insight about the token, the usage tier, and also the respective token limit associated with it. Let's focus on generating a form using n8n. Now, the first thing you need to do, now let's focus our attention on the form creation itself. To create a form, create your personal space, your workflow. On the right hand side, click on plus here. You can type form trigger. You can specify different kind of form, but here we would like to focus on n8n form. Click on that, on new form, on new n8n form event, which means this is going to be a trigger. That simply means if anybody submits this form, it's going to trigger a workflow. Let's do just that. Now, as you can see here, is going to be the URL for the test environment. If you're not ready to launch, you can still test your form. This is a production link. Now, one thing you should focus on is this. As you can see, this is test. If you click on it, a test goes away. That is how you know if you're using a test or the production URL form field. Now, let's specify authentication. If you want basic authentication for your form, you can set up the credential for basic authentication here, which is going to be the username and the password for the form. Also, if you want to use n8n user authentication, you can specify form title, which simply means user needs to authenticate. Here, we're going to do none. We're also going to switch it to basic auth once we're done. From form title, you can be like, contact us. This is for if you want to contact us page. Or let's say you want a social media feedback and you like user to give you feedback. Let's actually do that. Or let's call it customer review. Customer reviews. Now here, you can give it a description. Now for the description, it's basically going to show underneath the form, as you can see here with this tooltip. Give us your honest feedback. Thank you for your patronage. Now, form element. Currently, none doesn't exist, so you need to give it a form element. And you click on add form element. First one could be, how was our service today. And the response you want from the user could be a text input. Now, there are different kind of form options. It could be a checkbox, custom HTML, the date, the drop-down, email, file, hidden from field, number, password, radio button, text input, text area. Let's make it to be text area. Now, you could also add an attribute to this. An attribute such as a placeholder, which is going to be what the user will see, the default value, or required field, if you want the section to be required. Now, here, we're going to say add from element. Let's add additional element. Let's ask for a rating. Rate our service. You want to do checkbox, you have to specify the checkbox. Here, let's do radio button. The radio button means give it a star. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now let's also add an additional form field as well. But before that, let us check what we've done so far. Now let us check it out. Problem loading form, most likely because we haven't activated our form. Now let's go back to it. Let's test this trigger. Click on that, and then you see your form here. How was your service? My service was nice. Rate our service 1 star, 2, 3, 4, or 5. If you click on submit, and then you can see it right here. Let me close this form field. How was the service? My service was nice. Rate our service 5. Submitted as this is when it was tested. It was submitted, and this is a form test. Now let's also add an additional information here. How did you hear about us? Text input or a drop down. Here, let's do drop down. Let's say Google, or you can add additional element here, say newspaper, blog post, just say blog, Reddit. Let's check out the add attribute section. You can also specify if it is required or if it has a default value. Now, what's going to be the default value? Let us add a default value here. Now, another way, you could also specify a section here. Let's select our default value. Oops, excuse me. Just double click on that. It goes back into this flow. And let's delete this option here. Let us add a default value. Let's just add a different attribute. Let's make this section required. If you click on this, you can see the check mark here. You can also add an expression here. But here, let's do it like this. Then if you click on execute, then it's going to bring up this UI. And which you can see here, customer review. This is a form field, which is zero coding. You don't need to learn how to code to generate a form field. Here, you can see how was our service today. It was nice. Thank you. Smiley face. Rate our service 5. How did you hear about us? Google. Once you click on submit, voila, there you go. Now, this is how you create a form trigger in n8n workflow. With a zero coding experience, you don't need to know anybody to get this done. Also, if you want to share it, you can copy this link, your form, and also make publish my feedback form. You click on publish. Got it. Now your form can be accessed by anyone on the internet. If you share it, anybody can see your form. Now this is how you can create a form field by yourself using n8n. Now let me show you how to connect your form response to your Gmail account using n8n with a zero coding experience. Now you go to your n8n, you go to your form submission, the item, you click on this plus sign, then you search Gmail. You click on Gmail. You want to send a message to yourself, and then you specify the authentication. In this case, if you haven't set up your authentication, you can check out my previous video to do, and then or you can click on this and you can specify connect with Google, and you see the UI that will pop up. Let me close this. Now the resources here we want to do is we want to send a message. You click on message operation. In terms of the next thing that you're going to see is you need to send a message. Now you want to send it to. Now the next thing you want to do here, you want to specify the email that you need to send it to. Now in the to section, you can let me send it to myself. And the hello, the subject, so that I will know the subject of the matter that the form came from. Customer review. The content type, I'm going to say HTML. The message here, it's going to say you just got a now let's continue this. Let's expand this. You just got a X rating from a user, from a customer who found you, who heard about you from, let's specify, from Google, for as an example. The customer said this about their experience. Then you specify the experience here. Now this is what you're going to see in your email. You just got a 5 rating from a customer who heard about you from Google. The customer said this about your experience, about their experience. It was nice. Thank you. Let's put that in quotes. So when you read your email, you can take the quote. Also, let's remove the extra space here and then close it. You can also test what you just did. Let's click on this. But before we execute, let's scroll down. Here in this node properties, if you click on that, you can append an n8n attribute attachment. You can also CC somebody else. Let's say you want to CC the social media team. You could also decide to CC the social media team, or you could also decide to remove it and reply to the person. If you do reply to, you have to specify who you are replying to. But we're going to get there in a minute. But here, we're not collecting the user's email. If we did collecting the user's email, that also could be added. Let's close that. Let's execute. Once you execute, you can see the response here. It said sent, as you can see. Now let's check our email and let's check the form response. Once you click on it, you just got a 5 rating from a customer who heard about you from Google. The customer said this about their experience. It was nice. Thank you. That's what the customer said. Now, this is how you can send a form response from the customer who submitted their form directly into your Gmail account. Now, the next thing we need to do is let's go through the whole experience. How does it trigger from the form response straight down to your email? Now, we want to test our connection outside of this specific node that was added. Click on execute workflow. Your form shows up. Now here, how was the service? My service was great. I would give a couple of recommendations. and bring my friends over for your awesome promo. Okay, the rating, 5-star rating. How you did about us? Let's say from a blog. And then you click on submit. Form submitted, your response has been recorded. Now let me close this. As you can see, the form was submitted. You could also say check the execution. You can see this was recently executed. Also, you can also check your email. If you go to your email, if you go back, you can see this is your email. You click on it, you see you just got 5 rating from a customer who read about you from blog. The customer said this about their experience, and their experience is what? It says, my service was great. I would give a couple of recommendations and bring my friends over for your awesome promo. Now, this is how you can automate a form response into your Gmail account all by yourself without needing or having to code anything or reaching out to any developer. Now let me show you how you can speed up your workflow, how you can actually duplicate a workflow, and you can build on top of it in n8n. This allows you to move really fast, and you don't have to start all over again on a project they're about to embark on if you need to build on an existing project. To do that, you open an n8n workflow that you would like to duplicate. On the top side, you click on it, and then you can see duplicate. You click on duplicate. Now, once you do that, you can now give it a new name. New project, or let's call it new workflow. You can also add a tag to it. Let's say the tag is lead filter tag. You can also add multiple tag to it as well. You click on duplicate. Then you have a new workflow created here, and then here you can continue building, and you can build as much as you want without affecting the previous workflow that you just cloned for. Now I'm going to show you how to filter form responses using n8n with a zero coding experience. Now let's get started. Let's assume you have a form, this form here, right? Now in this form here, we are saying that this is a customer review form, which is asking user to give them their review. Now, one of the few things that you notice here is that the user actually want to get the rating of their service. But in this case here, let's also collect the user's email. But before we collect the user's email, let's see how the form actually looks. Let's click on this. Let's open a new tab. Oh, okay. Now let us trigger the new workflow. Let's click on execute. The form shows up. Now this is the form. We also want to collect the user's email as well in this form response. Now let's do that. We close this, we stop listening, you scroll down, you add a new form element. Here you can specify the email. What is your email? What's your email? Is a text input, as you can see here. Checkbox is a different section. Here let's select email so that it also helps us in validating if the user actually select an email. Also, we want to make this section required. Click on required. Now also let's put a placeholder, example.com. Nope, example. Let's call it email at example.com. Now let's see how that looks. Click on execute. You see that here. You see what's your email, it shows here. But guess what? We don't want to do that. We want it to be at the top. Now what you can also do is you can move it, you stop listening, you can drag it to the top. There's a caret icon here on this section here, and which is above the delete button. Do not mistakenly delete the button. All you have to do is click on it, drag it, and drag it to the top. You can drag it one after the other. What's your email? You drag it slowly. If you have a wider screen, or guess what? You can also drag this one below. Let me reduce my screen so I can see the field properly. And then if you click on this, you drag it to the top. You can also drag this to the top. Now let me zoom back in. You can say, what's your email? How was our service? The rating question. How did you hear about us? Let me see if I can remove this. No. And that's it. Now let's check it out. Click on execute step. And then you see this is the form. What's your email? How was our service? Rate our service. How did you hear about us? Now here, email is required. How did you hear about us is required. Let's assume you are running Google Adverts and you'd like to check if the user actually saw you through Google Ads or through a blog post. Now let me close this section here. Let's stop listening. Now let's tie everything together. Now, when the user decides to send you a form field, the next thing that you need to do is you need to filter the form response. But here, let's generate some data. To generate some data, you click on execute workflow. Once you click on it, you see this UI, you enter your email. Let me enter my email. How was our service today? My service was great. With our experience, 5. How did you hear about us? Newspaper. You click on submit. As you can see, it shows up here. Now we're able to generate the data that we can use for our testing. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to filter some few things. Let's double click on this. You can see the information here as well. Let me close this. Now here, you need to add a new item here, right? We need to link it to an if statement. Oh, also before that, you could decide to unlink the form response to your Gmail. But here, we just want to click on plus. Let's click on plus, type if. Couple of if statement, you could also do switch. But here, we would like to do if. Now, this is interesting because we actually want to collect, we want to give a response back to the users that actually have a bad experience on the product, on our service, excuse me. Now, here, you click on rate our service element here, you drag it here, and then you specify that here is equal to, let's say, a number. If it's less than 3, convert type. Now, if you do not specify this convert type where required, it's going to treat this as a string. If you click on this, you see the issue. Issue said issues wrong type 5 is a string, but was expecting a number. Try either enabling convert type where required, converting the first field to a number by adding this. You can also do this as well. But guess what? Let's just click on this. That makes it much easier. If you're using, let's say, if this is a string, right? And you want to ignore the casing, you can click on this. But for those who doesn't who have little or no technical background, don't worry about that. We have a button here that you can enable or you can disable. Now let's zoom out. Now when you click on execute, you can see the response. Is it true or is it false? Now let's close this. Now what happens here is that now the form submission has been linked to our if statement. If it is true, what was the condition that was added? Oh, the condition is if the rating is less than 3, we want to send an email. That's the intention that we plan on doing. So what about if it is false? What should happen? Now as you can see, the statement went through the false statement. Why did it went through this false statement? That's because the rating is not less than 3. Now let's click on plus sign. Let's send them an email. Let's click on Gmail. You would like to send this actually. We would like to send this to the business or to myself, or let's say the social media team. Let me type this. Now by typing plus social, this is, let's assume you want to send a good review to yourself, or let's say to the social media team. If you want to send it to yourself, you can send it to yourself. Or let's assume you want to send it to the social media team. It will be, you can specify the social media team's email. But in this case, I'm going to use this email, which is for my social media team. We got a customer review. Now, instead of having to do this all over again, guess what you can also do? Alternatively, you could delete that. You could also decide to duplicate this, right? You see, it makes it much easier. You can work fast. and it saves you time. And you can just link it, and then you edit this section here, the content here. As you can see, it's already previewed for you. The only thing here is the email. You click on social, customer review, and then you got this. Right now, let's close this. It automatically saves. You don't need to worry about anything. Now, if you actually experience it, if the customer actually have a bad feedback, right? Now, one thing you can also do is you can actually send an email to the customer themselves. So what you can do is here you can click on send. Who would you like to send it to? You would like to send it to the customer. That's the customer's email. Customer's email goes there, and then you respond back to the customer. Sorry, and you can specify an email that says, "We noticed you had a bad experience and gave us." Let me expand this so I have more context, more space to type. We noticed you had a bad experience and gave us a, let me put drag and drop what the customer actually sent and give us a rating. We will work hard to improve your experience on your next visit. Thank you. Okay, now what this means is you want to acknowledge the users, the customer that actually give you feedback, and you also like to send it back to them so that they understand that, oh, these people actually care about me. They care about my review, and their review is not just going in silo into a place where nobody actually cares. And let me close that. Now, what's going to happen here is you're going to send the customer a message automatically. And then also, you can also CC your team as well, your social media team. Or you can also do a BCC as well. Now let's do reply to. If you do reply to, let's do, let us do reply to. Let me close this. Let me double click on that. The reply to options, let's remove that. Let's also do a BCC as well. The BCC is for the social media team so that they have a copy of the message that was sent to them. Social, for example. Now, it means the customer will receive, let's change the topics for the customer. We received your feedback. Or let's say thank you for your feedback. Now, this is to acknowledge the customer and to let them know that you would like to improve their experience next time. Or you can basically phrase it however you want. Okay, now let's proceed. So, and also you have the BCC here, and now you can, let me click on execute. Click on execute. Node wasn't executed. It took a different path. Okay, that's correct. The reason it took a different path was because, remember the statement there, it was what? It was false. So therefore, there's no test data for us to use here. But since there's a test data for us to use here, if you click on it, you will click on execute. Since it went through this part, it was able to send. And then also, if you check your email, you'll be able to see the form that actually got submitted just now, which is this, based on the test data that actually that we have. Now, let's go back to the flow. And then let's click the workflow. Now you have this here. Let me give an email. My email is then let me change this. Let me add plus and type new customer review. Let me get a terrible experience. Let me give it a 1 star. Let me just text it. Member experience, ID about us, from Reddit. Click on submit. The workflow will save it. That was instantaneous, as you can see, super fast. Now, what happens here is you check this out. You go to your email. Let me click on refresh. You can see thank you for your feedback. You will click on that. You can see here. You can see here it was sent to this, and as you can see here also I can see the BCC. Ideally it shouldn't be seeing the BCC. You can fix that. That was a typo, a mistake on my part, but that was just to show you the possibility that you can use with n8n Gmail node. And you see here, we noticed you had a bad experience and give us a 1-star rating. We'll work hard to improve your experience next visit. Thank you. Now that is how you can structure your n8n, and then also you can filter your form field in n8n to automatically send an email to your Gmail with zero coding experience.
Now let's stop everything.
Okay.
Any video that is more than 1 hour is not good for